Good morning, all. Thanks for joining today for this session, Git and GitHub. Everyone can hear me without having any issues. Please confirm. Somebody. Just say some hi, hello. Is that okay? Hello. Can you hear me properly?
Yes, able to hear.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. That's what I was just looking for. Okay, thank you. So last week I was talking about that CCNA. That is completely it is into the networking domain because I'm a network engineer. Been working in this IT industry for last near about 12 to 15 years. I'm having an experience on this industry. So CCNA is still valid, and we are all looking for people who are coming with a networking experience to our projects. And I've been working as a technical architect, and I used to design networks for a huge companies like an MNCs, data centers, including the cloud. Without the cloud, nobody can survive in the field. So we are all working on the cloud, AWS cloud, Microsoft Azure cloud, and the Google cloud also. So designing the network and designing the application parameters and designing the how many people are going to use that, how much is going to be the hits are going to come for that particular server or something. What should be the path for that? What should be the trace route when we're doing that? How the server can be reached on that in the cloud as well as in the on-premises and the data centers. Like many other things we've been discussing daily, and we will be doing the projects with the customers. And most of the project which I'm doing it on the AWS only. So whoever is been in this IT field currently, whatever it may be the domain they are working on, either they are in a software domain, or they are doing the software applications, they are creating it, or they are doing some analyst job, or the people who are coming from the system administration domain, like Windows administrations, Linux administrations, web servers administrations, O365 administrations, right? And Google Suite administrations, or they create a project like this, like O365, how many people are there, licensing activities, cybersecurity side domains, or the people who are doing the automation things like server automation, network automations, application automations, who are writing the scripts and making the things to make it ready for that, and bringing the network into that, and they try to do some maintenance of that one, like maintaining the entire network which comprises of all the devices, which is servers, load balancers, firewalls, application servers, databases, even including the cloud as well as on-premises and local data centers and everything. Whoever is working on that, currently the people need to know about that. There is a thing called the Git, and the GitHub has been there. What is a Git and what is a GitHub? That we are going to discuss it today. Maybe an hour or something like that, this session may go off. This is going to be a completely an introduction session. I'll try to show you something on the shell parameters on the Git, as well as in the GitHub on the internet. I would like to connect and show it to you. And why we are using this Git, and why the GitHub is very much required for this current environment. And how does it going to be giving us the, the opportunities for to work with the clouded environment, like that, a cluster environment or something. And without connecting to the GitHub, what are the things which we are losing it, what we are going to gain it, and how do we come to know about it? What is the Git and what is the GitHub? How do I create an account on the GitHub? How do I create the desktop Git? That is a small software which we can download it on either on a Linux platform as well as on the Windows platform. We can create that. If you can download it on the Windows platform, it will be giving you the Git parameters. We can run it out like a Linux platforms will be getting on this. And in the Linux, we'll just install it according to the Ubuntu or CentOS Linux or Red Hat Linux. We'll be installing it with the, yum install or apt-get update, something like that. The commands which we run on that, and we can download that Git, and we can start creating the projects on the Git. What is Git and what is GitHub? Git is like a personal. Git is going to be explicitly only for you, yourself, or maybe your team members, whoever is downloaded and they started working on the Git desktop. That is called the Git desktop. It is for an individual user who is going to create some projects or software programs, so they're going to write it. and they would like to keep it in their local repository. That is a technical name I should be using that. It is called as a local repository. They would like to keep it. For that, the Git has to be installed as a desktop client. We can just install it in our own Windows 10. Better you use the Windows 10, that will be easier. And the Linux versions, anything you can use it, either it is a CentOS or Red Hat or Ubuntu or anything you can use it. So Git is going to be for a local repository. And what is a GitHub? GitHub is for a global repository. The repository is nothing but kind of a database which you are creating. That is called as a repository on that. GitHub is going to be multiple people will be logging into that one particular centralized location to share their projects, share their commits, or share their software, whichever they created like a projects, and they would like to go for some upgradations on that, version upgradations, like a subversion number, which we'll talk about, that version controlling, which we can do on that. Means it is going to be completely for a software people only. Then why I am talking about that Git and GitHub? I'm a network engineer. And the people may be asking that I'm a firewall expert, and I'm a guy who is maintaining the entire network with some kind of a third-party platform or something like that. Why should I require to know about Git and GitHub? How does it going to affect my job as a profile? Why should I put these lines in my resume that I just know that about Git and GitHub on this one? How is it going to make a beneficial to us? Like if you are learning about the GitHub or something. So now what we are coming into that area like that, we are on a 10 years back or something like that. We've been doing it on everything on an individual basis. Maybe we'll be getting into the office and we'll be doing the on-premises networks only, we'll be creating it on. And we'll be working on this, the entire, whenever you're having the customer environment, when you try to do your customer environments maintenance or something, upgradation or something like that, it has been within that company only. It is not nothing as a global or something like that. It is going to be a completely a separate entity which we are creating on this. Even though you are maintaining the 10 to different customers or something, everything is completely isolated. So that kind of an environment has been come to an end. Now we are all looking for something to be shared by everyone, and cloud is a better platform for that. So that's why everybody is moving towards a cloud nowadays. Cloud in the sense, cloud in the cloud, what all things cannot be possible. Everything is possible on the cloud. We can create the network, we can create the servers, we can create the databases, we can do the serverless operations, and we can do the data warehousing solutions, simple networking solutions, simple notification services, email services, work group docs, work docs, something like that is there. Apple, Google Suite is there, O365 is there, Salesforce is there, ServiceNow is there. Whichever you take it out, everything is being provided from the cloud as a service to you. So you can just ask me like whether it is going to be end of the on-premises and local data centers or something. No, it's not like the end of something or something. This is like an extension which we are working on. The cloud and the other things are going to be an extension for us. Why? In the sense like when you come to the cloud, you will be able to share the information all over the globe, which has been created already by these people. What are the people are there? AWS is one of the best cloud provider. They had a very heavy breakout in the last week. It's okay. Any network has got some breakouts and like things which goes on an unpredictable manner or something like that. They find out some root cause and it has been working on that. So AWS is offering the better services. Azure is it's giving the better services for us. Google Cloud is also giving the services for us. So when we are trying to automate our things, like we are all in the networking automation projects. I've been working on in the network automation projects on an Ansible and as well as in the Python. Now the Kafka is also coming up. We just need to work on a Kafka also. Kafka for network automations. Earlier it was used for Apache and other web server activities and all. Now they are looking for Kafka can be utilized for the network automation also. Like so, then when it is coming into that globalized environment, and people are not intended to create any network on their own, means like purchasing the servers and putting into them into the rack and make them to work. It may take at least 3 to 4 months to make the things up and running. So better we just hire it out from the public cloud, wherever the country we are looking for that. If I would like to create some resources on the Europe and in the Paris or something like that, I can just hire some of the machines from the Paris data center in AWS. I can create all the solutions for the people and for the customers, and I can commission it and I can give a handover to those people. It's very easier. Means maybe the entire organization can be created in one day. One day is also very heavy, Anthony. Maybe within an half an hour, 1 hour, I can just create everything and I can give it to them. But maybe like testing and other things can be taking some time. So maybe in a day or two, I'll be creating the entire network for an organization. I can give it to them. Means for 1,000 people who are working on an organization, in the sense, I can create that. So this things is coming up so very faster and moving very faster, and it has been a quicker solutions can be given for a solution, any solution like a software domain solutions, networking solutions, or firewall solutions. Services I'm asking about. Services I'm talking about. So any kind of a services can be offered from any part of the world in a day. In the sense, it is like a tremendous, like advancements which we made on through because of the public cloud operations are running on the world. That's why. So how the Git and GitHub is providing the help to create the proper cloud for us. When you talk to the software programmers who are the analysts, who are the program writings, people who are software engineers, they cannot stay without GitHub. Maybe GitHub has been purchased by the Microsoft. GitLab has been created on that. It's an open source platform, but still GitHub has been reigning the #1 position on this. GitHub is going to be like a hub environment. Hub environment in the sense many people will be connecting together at one place, and they'll be sharing all the informations on this. And the people collaboration is very much easier. Means like I am sitting in Bangalore, I create a code and I'll be putting into that GitHub on this under my official account or something other. My office guy who is sitting on the Australia, he can pick it up that information and he can start doing a modification and he can put the, like the changes whichever it has been there, he can go and commit it to it. Like I'll be getting that immediate reply from him that what all the changes he has done it on this, what all the commits he has made it on this. It is a completely a software only. There is nothing else that we are going to talk about a network here or a server administration or a firewall administration. Only. I'm talking about a completely a software programming which we are going to do that. That's what. Again, people asking like, why should I do this software programming? Because I'm a system administrator, I'm a database administrator. Why should I know this? Again, I'll come back to the automation only. Because of the automation has been done for every other field, not only for a server automation or application automations. We are working on a database automation. We are working on network automations. We are working on an Ansible. We are working on Python. So these are all automations whenever it has been coming up into the every other field or something like that. So this is required for us to know. So this is required means this is in the sense what I'm talking about. It is a Git and GitHub is very much required for you to know about any domain whichever you are working on in IT industry. Without knowing that GitHub, without knowing the Git, you will not be able to understand the collaborative environment which has been created for the networked people. So GitHub can be configured in two ways. One is a private mode, another one is a public mode. Normally, public mode, we can start with it and we can understand that. Private in the sense it is within the corporation only. If the corporate company is creating a GitHub private accounts, maybe with your own Gmail, with your own corporate email address, you can log into that private accounts and you can start pushing all the things, committing all the files. And you can see all the files whichever it is been happening on this. Nowadays, the Ansible projects and Python projects and everything has been kept in the private GitHub repositories for the engineers to pull out and to see what all the changes has been happened from any part of the world to do this all. So from network point of view, I can just say that GitHub is giving us a big, great help for us. Like we can collaborate with all the people who are working in a similar kind of a profile in all over the world. Maybe like in a registered office in US, the people who are sitting on this, and we are working in a branch office over here in Bangalore. So collaboration is quite easier for us. Why can't we do it with an email? Whatever the code which I have written on that, I can send it to them, and the Ansible code they can correct and they can send us. This is very like an old model, like sending the mails and correcting them and all these things. The collaboration is very much easier on the GitHub. Once you start studying about the GitHub, it will be a tremendous tool which we can have it on this. So changes are very much easier, and there will be a controller who can authorize that commit and changes whatever it is being done on that. We can even suggest for some of the changes need to go for us before committing into that. So it's more of the software side I just need to talk on, because then only you'll be understanding about that Git and the GitHub. So there are two type of account can be created. One is a private account, another one is a public account. Public account is a free, completely free. With your Gmail address, you can create a GitHub account and you can start working on with all the projects, and still you can collaborate with your own friends, colleagues, and other company peoples, or all over the world, whoever is having the GitHub account on it. You can even follow the peoples, like how we are following the peoples on a Facebook or Twitter or something like that. You can follow the people. You can even pull request, means whatever the changes which they have done it, whatever the repositories which they created on the GitHub or something, you can pull it out and you can start doing tweaking. That is called as a forking on this. We are going to see all the technicalities, whatever the terminologies which are there, we will be seeing that. So GitHub is a wonderful collaboration tool for the engineers who are working on software projects. That's all I can say about that. So our software projects, whatever the people are doing it currently, it's a wonderful collaboration tool for everyone to go for this. And the Git is going to be the desktop model. After doing the changes, after creating the projects, after creating the software programs, by using the Git desktop model, you will be pushing that your requests, your commits towards the GitHub. Means it will be the centralized project that people will be able to see it. Like in simultaneously, 10 people are working on a similar code and they are running it toward the GitHub, in the sense there will be a priority can be assigned to that. So according to the priority, the people whoever is being committed on that, we will be putting some kind of a comments on this. And according to the comment, the controller will be the moderator, whoever you can call it as. He will be approving that particular changes and he will be making it to the centralized repository on it. Once the code has been completely committed and it has been tested, verified, it has been available for all the people who are working on the project to pull out, and they can enjoy the benefits of that particular project. This is how the Git and GitHub has been organized in such a way. So this plays a greater role in our network automation. That's what I can say, because I'm not a software guy who can create kind of a code or something like that. But we are creating the code on Ansible, and we are creating the code for Python codes for network automations. These are all we are doing there, and still we are using that GitHub private accounts for my own corporate account, which has been created by the company. So I'm using those accounts, and for this demonstration purpose, I created one account under the public account. So why the private and public I'm talking about? Public is a free one. Anyone can create. No need to pay any money to GitHub to keep that account, to keep your code and sharing it to the peoples. Do any operations as you are doing it on the private. Private in the sense, every account is going to be charged for the amount of data which we are going to keep on that, the amount of sharing which we are going to make that, and the amount of days which we are going to use it, means how many days you are going to use this one. Like, so that is under the private one. You can even create the private, but you need to pay for it. So GitHub public account, which we will be talking today, and Git we will be talking today. Git and GitHub is playing a very great role in everybody's domain, in the IT domain. We need to understand that. Everyone has to understand that, not only the software people, even networking guys, firewall guys, load balancer people, server administration guys, like any other, whatever it may be, the field people are working on this IT industry should be getting connected to this GitHub to do the sharing of their own codes, or pull out the other people whoever is running on the codes or something. You can even get many ideas when you are just getting into the GitHub. You can get some more ideas about that, how to create an Ansible project for your company, how to create the Python projects for your company. I have took so many of the codes from some of the publicly shared codes which are shared in the GitHub platform. People are sharing it, and moreover, all the companies, whichever it is, a bigger networking companies which we can talk about, there is a Cisco, Juniper, and Arista, and an Access. Many of the projects which has been given so freely by the companies itself, they create the code and they will give it to us. Like, so we can pull them all and we can modify it accordingly. So sharing is very easier from the corporates to the another project people or something like that. It is very easier for them. Right? So this will be the centralized repository is going to be get there, and all the corporate companies will be keep on updating these things to the current. You can even see the date, time, and other things. What was the last commit which has been made on that? Like, so that's what Git and GitHub are. We just need to learn about this one to be sticking into this industry on the automation field as well as in the cloud. Whenever cloud projects try to look for new code or something, they will refer it to the GitHub only. Whenever there is a new project which has been created on Ansible as well as in our own Python projects or something, we look for a GitHub only. So collaboration is easier. It's more of like self-help. Anyone can learn on their own. You don't require any kind of a training or something like that. And again, I would like to tell you that if you are coming from the Linux environment, it is very easy for you to understand this Git and GitHub because they are all completely working on Linux platform only. And even if you download the Git model, Git desktop client for the Windows operating system, when you start running that Git bash terminal, bash nothing but a terminal. It's a Unix terminal, Linux terminal, say. You will have to run the commands on the Linux only. So ultimately, Linux rules the world still now, even after 30 years. 1991, it has been introduced. 30 years has been completed recently. I guess 1 week before something it was completed. So you should be knowing about the Linux to be the guy who would like to do the automation or something. You can start with the Windows and you can slowly just need to move towards the Linux to create more opportunities for your job perspective, knowledge wise, and to get the more salary or something. So that is my recommendations and other things. Okay. Anyway, I will go through these slides. Then I would like to show you something on the, on the network, on the GitHub itself. I'll log into my account on the internet and I would like to show you all these things. Let me start this slides now. Git and GitHub. Okay. What is GitHub? Okay, this is the first slide. To be very crisp about what exactly it is a GitHub, it is a file or code sharing service to collaborate with the different people. GitHub is a highly used software that is typically used for version control. It is helpful when more than just one person is working on a project. That's all. It's a collaborative model. Say, for example, a software developer team wants to build a website and everyone has to update their codes simultaneously while working on the project. In this case, GitHub helps them to build a centralized repository where everyone can upload, edit, manage the code files. That is what GitHub. What are Git and GitHub? Something more. Git is a free, open source, distributed version control system designed to handle everything from small to very large projects with speed and efficiency. GitHub is a web-based Git repository hosting service which offers all of the distributed revision control and source code management, SCM we call it as, functionality of Git as well as adding its own features. So Git is a desktop model. GitHub is a web model, I can just say. Git is a distributed version control system. GitHub is a web-based Git repository hosting service. GitHub is a central repository, again the same. Git is a tool which allows you to create a local repository. Now, people usually get confused between the Git and GitHub, but it is actually very different. Git is a version control tool that will allow you to perform all kinds of operations to fetch the data from the central server or push the data to it. That's what. Git is a private, Git is like the tool which you can download and you can work on in your own desktop. That is a Git. And GitHub is a core hosting platform for version control collaboration. GitHub is a company that allows you to host a central repository in a remote server. So that's why Git is local, GitHub is remote. Version control systems, maybe like these are all very new terms for you, but you just need to understand all these things. The terminologies to continue with the Git and GitHub. Version control or revision control or source control is all about managing the multiple versions of the documents, programs, websites, etc. Almost all real projects use some kind of version control, essential for the team projects, but also very useful for individual projects. Some well-known version control systems are CVS, Subversion, Mercurial, and Git. CVS and Subversion use a central repository, users to check out the files, work on them, and check them in. Mercurial and Git treat all repositories as equal. Distributed systems like Mercurial and Git are newer and are gradually replacing the centralized systems like CVS and Subversion. Why version control? Why do we require a version control? For working for myself, yourself, in the sense like gives you a time machine for going back to the earlier versions, gives you the great support for a different version, standalone, web app, and etc. of the same basic project. For working with others, greatly simplifies the concurrent work, merging changes. For getting an internship or a job, Any company with a clue uses some kind of version control. Companies without a clue are bad places to work. So that's why version control is very much required. How much changes has been made and who has made the change, what time it has been committed, and how does it differentiated from the changes which I made it like. So that is nothing but a version control. Why is GitHub is so popular? How does it becoming so popular in the last 5-6 years? GitHub has a various advantages, but many people often have a doubt as to why not use a Dropbox or any cloud-based system. Yeah, that's what, again, you say that central repository, everybody is working on sharing something like that. How does it differentiating from the S3 bucket or a desktop Dropbox? I can say S3 bucket in AWS, we say more than 2 software developers are working on the same file and they wanted to update it simultaneously. Unfortunately, the person who saved the file first will get the precedence over the others. While in the GitHub, this is not the case. GitHub document the changes and reflect them in an organized manner to avoid any chaos between any of the files are uploaded. Using GitHub centralized repository, it avoids all confusion and working on the same code becoming very easy. That is the difference between the normal repository and GitHub repository. These are all the Git terminologies. To understand that, we just need to know Git and GitHub. I can just say that. Yeah, Git and GitHub terminologies we say. First, we talk about that. Sorry. First, we talk about that repository, then the branches, then forking, then cloning, then pull request, pushing, committing. These things we just need to understand. When we are trying to understand the Git and GitHub, we need to understand what is a repository, what is called as a branches, how do they do, what is the forking, what do you do by the fork other than in your dining table, what's called as a cloning, and how do you make the pull request, and how do you make the push request, and how do you commit it in the last. So these are all like an order of execution it goes on. Would like to explain it to you with some diagrams which I found it on the internet. Okay, let's go to the repository. These are all the Git commands. Again, the same: remote, pull, merge, clone, commit, push, branch, and other things. It's like more of a graphical based. Okay, let's go to the repository. A repository is a storage space where your project is living. It can be a local to a folder on your computer. It is called as a local repository, or it can be storage space on a GitHub or another online host that is called as a remote repository. Okay, you can keep the code files, text files, images, or any kind of a file in it. You need a GitHub repository where when you have done some changes and are ready to be uploaded, this GitHub repository acts as your remote repository. A repository can be local, a local repository which is in your desktop, a global repository, that is nothing but a remote repository which is in the GitHub, like that. So this is called a repository. Repository is nothing but they can take it as like a dump where you can keep all your data over there, like a hard disk or something like that. You can just keep it. If you keep it in local hard disk, it is called as a local repository. If you keep it in a remote hard disk, means that is called as a remote repository. That is a GitHub. Okay, next. This is how the repository is working. So maybe this is software related things. Okay, you can just see that. There are many versions of that. Version 2, version 1, there is a new file is added. Somebody else is working on. This is the first commit, second commit, third commit, means the 3 people are working simultaneously on this same file, new.txt, test.txt, new.txt, something like that. So this is nothing but a repository. Repository is going to keep all the files of all the versions of all the commits whichever is being happen on this. You can just say this is the master and this is the test. This is the 2 projects you can take it as like this is another branch. You'll see what is the branch later. So maybe like now it may be confusing because it's you just need to understand that what is the logic behind this and how the repository is being made and how the repository is treating the recently edited file by multiple people like that. So that is called the local repository and the global repository. That is called the remote repository. Next, branching. Branches help you to work on different versions of a repository at one time. Again, a confusion. Help you to work on a different versions of a repository at one time. Let's say you want to add a new feature. It's a development phase. And you are afraid at the same time whether to make changes to your main project or not. This is where Git branching coming into the rescue. Branches allow you to move back and forth. It's a very important word, move back and forth between the different states, versions of your project. You can create a new branch and test the new feature without affecting the main branch. These are all the features which are given by the GitHub. Once you are done with it, you can merge the changes from new branch to the main branch. Here are the main branch is the master branch, and which is there in your repository by default. So to avoid the confusion, I would like to take it again. Branches help you to work on a different versions of a repository at one time, similar time. Let's say you would like to add a new feature and you are afraid to make it on the same time, whether to make the changes or not. There we will be going for a branching. Branches allow you to move back and forth between the different states and versions of the project. You can create a new branch and test the new feature without affecting the main branch. That's why the branches are very much helpful. Once you're done with that, means you are very much clear about that. The branch is going to work out. It's not going to break out anything on this. It will not break anything which has already been running on that. It's not going to affect any other performance of the code which has been already running on that. Then what do? You go and merge it with the master branch. So that's why the branches are very helpful for us. Understand? You have to understand. Okay. Get branch and its operations. You see that there is a diagram, like a small diagram which is being made. This is a master who is in the last feature 2, feature 1, and other things. People are doing many changes over here. Like that, then ultimately it comes to the master branch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like and this is like Git branching and merging. This is the branches. You can just see the first top one is branches. There is a feature 1, and this is a feature 2, something like that. Then it goes to the master. And here we are going to mix it up. Like a feature 1 goes on, feature 2 goes on. Then it is getting mixed with merged with the master. Once it has been also master, it is like then nothing is going to be the final code which is getting committed on that. That is called as a branching and merging. Next, forking. Fork is a copy of your repository that you manage. Forks let you to make changes out to a project without affecting the original repository. You can fetch updates from or submit the changes to the original repository with the pull requests. Forking a repository is similar to copying a repository with 2 major differences. You can use pull request to suggest changes from your user-owned fork to the original repository, also known as upstream repository. You can bring changes from the upstream repository to your local fork by synchronizing your fork with the upstream repository. Means forking is nothing but making the changes without affecting the original repository. And the 2 ways which can be done, there is a 2 major differences are there, just a simply copying and forking. You can use a pull request to suggest changes from your user-owned fork. You can bring changes from the upstream repository to your fork, means back and forth you can do that. That is called the forking. Forking is also one of the important chapter we just need to study. Next, this is how the forking. You just see that this is your forking. It's an origin. Forking is done, and then cloning it out, then pushing it back. Means like we will be making the changes in commit, local repo we're making it, then committing it like that. It goes to the upstream repo. From there also we can pull it out, and you can see. Without forking also we can pull the repository like this. So all software terms need to understand. It's a new terminology, technical jargons need to understand before pushing it. Okay, next, cloning. What is the cloning? Cloning, when you create a repository in github.com, it exists as a remote repository. You can clone your repository to create a local copy on your computer and sync between the 2 locations. That is called as a cloning. Means just simply it's the same that downloading. You are downloading from the central repository to the local repository. That is a cloning. You can clone a repository from github.com to your local computer, make it easier to fix the merge conflicts, add or remove files, push larger commits, make some changes, modify that everything, then you push it out again. When you clone a repository, you copy the repository from github.com to your local machine. Cloning a repository pulls down a full copy of all repository data that github.com has at that point in time, including all versions of every file, any folder of the project. You can push your changes to the remote repository or pull other people's changes from the github.com. You can clone your existing repository or clone another person's existing repository to contribute to the project. This is something extra. What is a cloning? Cloning is nothing but from the repository, central repository, you are downloading something to your computer. You can take it in that way. It's quite easier. You are taking a project which has been there in the github.com. You try to copy that to your local hard disk, and you would like to work with your own Git tool. That is called as a cloning. That is called as a normal cloning. The last one, you can clone your existing repository or clone another person's existing repository. That is also possible. Anyway, it is like just copying, pulling down and doing the changes and pushing it back. That is called cloning. Next, this is a cloning. You see, original repository is a hello, then git clone, we are doing the git clone, then you say cloned hello is a copy of the original repository. This is how we are just cloning it. Pull requests. Pull requests are required for you tell others about the changes you pushed to a branch in a repository on GitHub. Once a pull request is opened, you can discuss the review, the potential changes with the collaborators and add follow-up commits before your changes are merged into the base branch. This is how it's going to be the discussing things. Like pull requests are nothing but discussions. Whatever the changes you done that, and you would like to merge it with that centralized repository or the merging something with the master, you will put all the comments and what are the changes I made, and these are all things is broken down here. I just committed, I just changed it, I fixed it. Then you guys go and check it out from your side and just you will make that. That is nothing but a pull request. When working with a pull request, keep these things in following in mind. If you are working on a shared repository model, recommend that you use a topic branch for all your pull requests. When you can send the pull request from any branch or common or commit, with the topic branch, you can push the follow-up commits. You need to update your proposed changes. This is like a guidelines they are talking about. When pushing the commits to a pull request, don't force push. Force push changes the repository history and can corrupt your pull request. If other collaborators branch the project before a force push, the force push may override the commits that collaborators based working on their own. Pull request is nothing but like whatever the changes that you make and you would like to merge it with the master and you would like to have some suggestions from the other part or other fellow people, and you are making a commit on that. Sorry, you are making the commit on that and you are just sending it back to that. And before making the pull requests, that's what you are doing. Before merging, you are just making one pull request. That is a pull request. Tell others about the changes you pushed into the branch in a repository on a GitHub. This can be completely controlled by the central moderator. How many pull requests you are making that? Ultimately, the centralized person who is authorization to do all the changes and other things, he will go through that, he will change that, and he will try to approve your pull requests, get merged with the master branch, like that. Okay, the next pull request. This is how the pull request fork from another repo, git clone, git pull, git push, something like that is that. Git add, git commit, then push it again back. You take it from here and you are making some changes over here. Like you are taking it from here, it goes out, and you are adding something here. Then pushing it back to the repository. This is central repository. It's small diagrams, but diagrams doesn't help more. We just need to work on to understand the pull requests and all. Push. What is the push? Git push is to push the commits made on your local branch to the remote repository. Means you made some modification, made some changes. You know that the thing is going to work out properly. You did some branching and other things. You just know that the code is perfectly working on that. And you would like to push it towards the centralized repository. That is nothing but a pushing. As you commit the changes to your project locally, you can push those changes to the GitHub so that others may access them from the report repository. When you push the changes, you send the committed changes to you in your local repository to the remote repository on the GitHub. If you change your project locally and want other people to have access to the changes, you must push the changes to the GitHub. That's what. What is the pull request? Pull request is nothing but would like to take some suggestions, decisions making, and discussing with other people's. That then you will be making one pull request. After the pull requests, and you have made some changes on this in your local repository, you made everything. It's perfectly working. The code is now it's perfectly working on this, and you would like to share it with other people on this. You will do the pushing. Once you do the pushing, it goes to the centralized repository. Means from the local, it goes to the central. That is nothing but push request. When you clone it, it comes down. When you push it, it goes up. That's the difference. Okay, now commits. You can save small group of meaningful changes as commits. Similar to saving a file that has been edited, a commit records the changes to one or more files in your branch. Git assigns each commit with the unique ID called SHA or a hash or something that identifies the specific changes, when the changes were made, who created the changes. Committing is nothing but like we are committing. It means like completely I've done that, I finished my work, I'm not going to do any changes or so. This is going to be the committing on this one. That is called as a commit. You pull, you clone, you push, then you commit. Like that. That is the order of sequence which has been made. With your pull request, with your clone request, you will be taking that repository to your own local repository, and you will add some files, you'll remove some files, you'll add some lines and remove some lines, and you test it out whether it is perfectly working on this. Then you make a push request to the centralized repository. And in between, you'll be making one pull request also to suggest the changes between your moderator and the people who are working along with you on the same project or something. Once they are commit, once they are okay, that they are all okay, then what do? You will be pushing it to that, then you will start committing it. Then who is being committed? That information we can get that. GitHub will be giving all the changes, specific changes. When the changes are made, time, date, minute, hours, seconds, everything will get year. And who created the changes, the person who done the changes and all. That is called the committing is nothing but like they're finalizing it, finishing it. It's over, not more than that we are going to do anything on this one. That way is called as a committing. Okay, then this is the commits. Untracked, unmodified, you see that adding the file, that is untracked. Unmodified, edit the file. Modified, stage the file. Staged, commit, goes with that. This is how the commit is happening. You take one file that is completely untracked, that is you are adding the line to that. Then unmodified, it goes to that edit the file. Then it has become a modified, then staging the file. Staging the file in the sense, making a pull request and checking with all the peoples. Then you go for a committing, push and commit out. That's called as a commits. Completely software things. Introduce yourself to the Git. Okay, how do you create an account on Git, and how do you download all these informations, and how do you make some changes on the GitHub or something like that? How do you create a GitHub account? That is what. When you, on your computer, open the Git shell application. We have to download the desktop client is there. We can download that. It's a free. And enter the lines either in a Linux platform or in a Windows platform. We can do that. Enter these lines means like we need to configure this first of all. I just given that like a git config. I'm creating my own account. Git config -- global. Username is StuckCrowd. Git config -- user email. These two informations are mandatory to create the Git to work in your own laptop, in your own computer. StuckCrowd@gmail.com. This is my email address. We can given that because it's going to be the public repository only. I'm going to use it, so I'm given a gmail.com as my private account. And you need to do this at least only once. Once you've done that, all your projects, whichever you're doing, it has been tracked with this username and this email address. If you want to use a different name and email address for a particular project, that also you can do that. You can change it for just that project only. CD to the project directory, and this is something extra. Okay. Anyway, when you try to configure your Git on your desktop, you just need to do this. Two things are important. Next, typical workflow. Git, we are talking about Git status. See what Git thinks is going on. Use this frequently. Work on your files. Git add your edit files. Git commit. We are going to commit out like working directory, Git add, index, Git commit, repository, like this. Whatever the changes you are making, that you're creating one file under the Git, you're creating one file that may be something, a code or something like that. The file you are creating that. After that, what you will be adding that file to the you just need to add it. Then after adding that, you just need to check the status of that file, whether it is added or not. Then you will go for a Git commit like this. This is the order of execution. 1, 2, 3, and again 4. Git status, whether this file is added or anything left out. Like so, from the working directory, we'll do the Git add. then it is getting indexed, then you do the committing. Then you check with the git status command like this. So if you are working on this, it's a quite simple one. Maybe this maybe giving a problem for you. You'll understand. Okay, next. Keeping it simple. If you make sure that current is a central repository and make some improvements to your code, update the central repository before anyone else does. Then you don't have to worry about resolving the conflicts or working with the multiple branches. All the complexity in Git comes from the dealing with this. If you are having the problems like this, current is a central repository, I'm making some improvements on this, I'm keeping the, before anyone is doing that, I would like to do that. There is no here like a running race or something. So GitHub is going to make all this things possible for you. Therefore, make sure that you are up to date with the before starting any work. Commit and update to the central repository frequently. Init and Git repository. When you set Git init in your project directory, or when you cloned an existing project, you created a repository. This repository is a subdirectory named .git containing the various files. The dot indicates a hidden directory. You do not work directly with the contents of the directory. Various Git commands do that for you. And this is the local operations. You see working directory, staging area, Git directory, check out the projects and other things, more commands, like don't get scared. Don't be so afraid of it. This is a remote repository. This is the remote repository. You can take it as like a GitHub, and this is your local repository. Say this is your workspace. So what do you do? Fetch and clone. You pull it out, you work on this, then check out workspace. Then creating an index, then do the commit, then push the commands like this. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how it's been going on. What do? You will be cloning a project. Maybe your moderator will be there saying that clone that project and start working on with your own changes, whatever. Maybe you are a coder. You just try to do some changes on this. Make some changes in the local repository. That by doing the pull, you'll do doing that. Then you go to the checkout. Checkout in the sense it is in a working space. Then it is creating an index, means like adding file and other things. You do the commit. Then committing into that. Then after the committing, you will be pushing into the central repository. That is nothing but a remote. 1, 2, 3. It comes back again 4, then 5. So this is how things are working with that Git and GitHub. This file status lifecycle. Run tracked, money modified. This I already shown you, like editing the file and staging the file, then going for a committing. After committing, if you have any issues and other things, you can go and remove the file, then again add the file, then edit the file. Like that we can do. Anytime we can do all these things. But it's like more of a logic behind this, how things are getting cloned, how it has been pulled, how it has been pushed, how it has been committed, how it has been changed, how it has been pushed back to the central repository, how the people will be coordinating with each other people, how the collaborators are working on that, and how the centralized moderator is tracking all the changes which have been made, what all the commits has been on this. So it is like a more collaborative environment. That is nothing but a Git and the GitHub. So I finished my the things on like introduction to the Git and GitHub. There are so many things are there which I could not able to tell you on everything on here. Okay, if you have any questions on your mind, you can ask me now. I'm very much ready to answer that. And I will be putting this PPT as well as the video in the YouTube. You can watch that later, and you can subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/c/Ramnath Kesav. You can find that information on this. You can share it with your friends and everybody. And if you have anything to ask now about this Git and GitHub, you can ask me. I'm ready to answer that. Please go ahead. I think somebody. Hello. Hello. Anyone has any questions on this Git and GitHub? No questions at all. Okay, then I would like to show you how the Git, the desktop client is looking like, and what all things you can run on that, like that. Just to let me start the Git. This is an application which I installed on this. this computer Windows 10, I just run on this. So now it is showing that RAM node, some names and other things are showing. Say git status type. Working on a directory, no changes, no commits, nothing like that. So git, give the question mark. You may be getting somehow the help on this. Git is not a command. Git is the question mark is not a command. Git help, you go for it. Git hyphen help you. Right? So here we have all the help switches coming up. These are all the switches which we can make it up, means like options which we can create. There are common git commands used in the various situations. Start a working area means git clone and git init. Clone a repository into the new directory. Init, create an empty git repository and reinitialize an existing one. Work on the current change like a GitHub every day. Git add, git mv means moving, renaming like that. And restore a file, remove a file. Like that. Examine the history and state. See also like some other things of that. Bisecting, differentiate, grepping the lines like that. Log, git show, git status. That's what we done that now. Grow, mark, and tweak your common history. Branching, committing, merging, rebasing, resetting, switching between the branches on this. So list, create, delete the branches. It's branch, commit, record the changes to the repository, merge, join two or more development histories together, rebase, reapply the commits on the top of another base tick, resetting the current head and the specific state or something. Like collaborating, fetch, pull, push. This is about the collaborating. Fetch means download the objects and reference from the another repository. Pull, fetch from and integrate with another repository or a local branch is also possible. Push, update remote references along with associated functions. GitHub Milesay and other commands are on this one. This is about the Git. We just need to install it in our own local computer. We can just check that. So you can just say git branch. Now it is showing the git branch is only one branch. If you would like to add the branch, I can just add it like git branches. Then we can see. Then you can say git status minus a, something like that. So, okay. What are the options are there? We can check it out. If you give the wrong answer, it will give the wrong like that. A option is not there. We can say, we can check the git version. Git version is the one like 2.34.0, 2.34.0. This is the latest one which we are using there. And I can say git version, it's saying verbose, a short, branch, show, stash, behind. So many things are there. We just need to work out like a full-fledged software guy. We just need to work on this. So this is about this. This is a small software. We can install it on. It's a Windows 10. I'm using that. So it's a Windows 10 I'm using. So in the Windows 10, I installed this Git desktop model, desktop version 2.34. So this is the latest one. You can install that. This is a master branch which I'm working on this current project or something. So I would like to show you something on the GitHub also. Yes, you can see my GitHub account. It's a public, so anyone can see that. Goes to that. See, these are all the repositories currently I'm working on. GitHub, testing, legendary, and other things. SoftStack, my app, and Laughing Fortnite, GoCom, Robo, so many things are there. Recent activities will be showing all this here. So like anyone can create an account on this github.com and you can create this auto login, which I just made. See that. Your profile, your repositories, your code specs, your projects, your stars, GIS, upgrade, something like that. It goes on. Settings you can do. If you like to change your profiles or something, go to your profile and you can change whatever things. It's my photograph. Maybe it look nice. So anyway, same photograph I given on YouTube also. How long I've been working on this, it will be showing that how many commits which I made. 13 commits in 3 repositories I made, and created from a first repository, December 6, created 2 other repositories on December 15 and 6, something like that. So how many files has been pushed to that? We will be having the complete environment. This is a free account, you see that. This is a Gmail account which I created. And if you like to see the repositories, I can go and see my repositories. This is my repository. There are 3 repositories which I created. It's a centralized repository. I can share it with anyone. You see that this is a public. You can see this is a public repository. And this is also a public repository. This is also, everything is a public repository, nothing as a private here. So nobody is following me, but I am following one person. Okay. Okay. Anyway, people will follow me because I'll create more projects on this. They'll be following me. And this is one of the repository I would like to show you on this my app. This is one of the Maven project which I try to make it out on this. Maven is one of the like DevOps tool which I'm working on that to integrate it with my Jenkins project or something which we are currently working on that. So I tried to create this repository with that. You see that first commit Maven and first commit Maven. But this is a description which is given on that. Creating a Jenkins file, an initial file, pom.xl, something like that. So in this source, you can go and see that first commit on Maven like that. App Java, something is showing. I can go to that source again to see that second one. It's an Apple test, app test Java like that. So this is a master branch. I have one more branch called a feature one. It is there. You can create the branch, and if you would like to add the file in the master branch, you can click on add file, and you can create a new file here. So for the demo on Git and GitHub, I created this file on what is it? 19th December 21, like that. I just need to give the name for this for demo 19 December like this. So this is a new file, text file which I created. I can even create a code file also. It's possible. And I just need to scroll down. I'm going to commit the new file. Committing the new file means I just need to give a comment on this. For demo, I created on 19th tech. Additional optional extended description is not required. Commit directly to the master branch. Branch also I can choose it. Create a new branch for this commit and start a pull request. Nothing. Let me commit it on this in the master branch itself. I just click commit new file. So you see that the file has been created on this. For demo, I created this 19. Now it has been created. These are all showing 4 days ago, 5 days ago, something like that. So here I just open that file and I can see that. For demo, Git and GitHub, I created this file like this. If you like to go back, you just click on this file. And this is a Jenkins file. I can show you the Jenkins file. This is a pipeline which I created for the Maven. This is the code which I written on that. Okay, you can get it on the. This is like a cleaning the project and a testing the project and deploy the project, like Maven package which I done on this. Like we can create as many as codes we want on this one. This is a completely a public repository. And anyone can follow me, anyone can see my whatever the things I created on this one. One person is watching me, 0 stars, 0 forks. Here I can create the fork. I cannot create my own. I'll have to create the another fork in the sense means another people's things. I can give a stars to mine. Feature ideas, my stock and inspiration and other things. Issues. If there is any issues with this project or something, it will be showing this. These are all the pull requests which you can go with that. Welcome to pull request. I can make a pull request from here, create a pull request of another project or repository, something. Actions, get started with the GitHub actions. These are all new ones. See, Java with Maven, Android CI, public Java package, Java with Ant, Clojure, like that. And projects are there. Projects are actually new to this one. We normally create the repositories only, like that. Let me go back again to this. Let me go to my project. That will be easier. It's taking time. So like connection is unstable. That's what I say. My internet connection problem. Okay. Anyway, and this is how like I can make the pull request on this. And there are 2 branches are there in this. What are the branches? You can just see. Feature 1 and feature 2. Feature 1 again. Feature 1 active branch. Your branches master and these 2 are the branches on this. And if you'd like to see some other things, if you'd like to search and find out that, I can search it on my own project. I can search it on my own repository, or I can go to the whole GitHub and I can search it on this. Let me type Cisco. It's there. Cisco has come with the 15,000 repository results. You can just say Cisco Confers, Cisco IPsec VPN, Cisco Exploit. Like that I can, because I'm creating a Cisco because I'm network engineer. So I'm taking Cisco and Juniper, something like that, and look for then you can get all the Juniper projects on this. Ansible projects, if you like to get it, whoever is created and kept it as a public repository, then you can able to see Ansible. All the Ansible projects will be getting it. This is a whole GitHub. I am searching for that and I'm getting on this. These are Ansible examples. I can go to this and I can look for what are the examples on this. I can click a fork on this. I can do the fork because this is a public repository. I can click on fork. Forking the Ansible and Ansible examples. It should take only a few seconds and then it goes on. So it comes into it will be available on my own project on this. So this is how forking is called as. 6 branches are there in this Ansible example. So if I go to that soft stack, that is the name which I given on this. If I see the repositories, because I forked one project from the outside, so it is showing all the Ansible examples. I can create some changes and I can do some, suggest with the people like making a pull request, or I can even commit down on this. If I'm doing it proper way, if I'm doing it on the correct way, without breaking any other code or something like that, that will be, appearing in this Ansible examples under that. So otherwise it will be get rejected on this, because if I make some kind of a fun over that, people will be deleting all this. Okay, so this is about you can go for a settings and you can see this is my public profile and email and other things are there. You can create as many as on this. Updating the profile, account appearance, accessibility, billing and plans. You can go to the billing and plans and you can see monthly bill, it will be showing next payment due, because it is normally a public repository. So there is no, as an account is a public, I'm not keeping anything. I can even make it as like a private, it's possible, but private will be private repos or 0. There was something else. I see the private repos, nothing is. So this is about the Git and the GitHub. I would like to show it to people on that. And okay, as of I completed my things. If you have any questions, you can ask me, and you can send me an email to this email address if you'd like to have some trainings on Git and GitHub. And I'm trying to start the sessions for DevOps also. Yes, I'm planning for it. Maybe by next month I'll be starting on this. Things are getting ready on this. So if you'd like to have any trainings on this Git and GitHub, Apache Tomcat, Maven, and Terraform, many other tools are there, Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Python, you can contact me and I can see this video on this YouTube. Okay, I'll be uploading it in next half an hour or something like that. You can see it to your friends and colleagues and relatives about my channels. And people, I see some couple of people are still there. If you have any questions, you can ask me, or you can put me, you can WhatsApp me later. Can you give me your email addresses? I'll be sending you these PPTs and to the videos to you guys. You can put your email addresses on the chat screen. I can get it out. Can you? I see some couple of people are there. And Sudarshan and Shashwat, people are there. Can you give me your email addresses? I'll send you this PPDs and the recording options for you, like recording things, and I'll send it to you. You can watch that. Hello. Okay, somebody is giving it privately. Anyway, thanks for joining today, and join with me on the next week with another new topic I'd like to discuss on this. And if you have any questions and any doubts and other things about the Git and GitHub, you can write it to me on my email or you can call me. Okay, thank you. And you can call me, and moreover, please go to my YouTube channel and please subscribe to that. So you will be getting the daily, not daily, like weekly ones. I'll be updating with the new projects on this, because I'm having so much of works in between that I'm just doing this all videos for. It's like a knowledge series like that I just do. So please subscribe to my channel and refer it to your friends and colleagues. Thanks for joining today, and I'm closing this session. Thanks for all. Thank you very much. Bye.